All right, let's get started with the ShipSavvy release news for this week. So this week we are talking about release 1.7.8, which doesn't necessarily mean anything to a lot of you guys, but it's the newest release that kind of went out this week. We're also bundling in a little bit from our last release, which we call 1.7.7. We had some exciting insurance stuff released with that. Let's get right into it. The one of the biggest pieces, and there's been a lot of work in behind the scenes on this one, is something we call enhanced carrier visibility. And so this is a meaningful improvement to our checkout flow. Previously, when customers were going through the process of selecting which final mile carrier to use for their deliveries, we would present them with the best, most economical option, our preferred option. And now we've put in changes in place where people have more options available to them. They can see the transparency behind some of those. And so, Owais, why don't you talk us through sort of where this all started and the solution that we have in place for friends now?
Yes, I'm very excited about this enhanced carrier visibility. Historically, we've always prided in providing our customers the best option available out there to them, and we have done the magic behind the scenes. We pick the carrier and we give them the best option, usually based on the price, but could be based on service and a lot of different factors. But we heard customers' feedback, they want flexibility. And it's good to have that flexibility because things change in the market. Canada Post is going on strike. Some people are comfortable using that, some people are not. Some people have preference over one carrier or the other. While we work with many different carriers and we wanted to provide that option to our customers, now we give the flexibility to our customers to choose whichever carrier they want to work with, right? And this gives a lot of flexibility. It puts forward all the different carriers that we work with. We have 7 different carriers that we work with, and our customers were not really able to benefit or choose which ones they wanted to work with. And now they have the option, they can pick whichever one they want out of all the carriers that we work with. And as we grow our carrier base, they will have the flexibility to again choose from one of our partners. I'm very excited about it, and maybe we can do a walkthrough on how this actually shows up in the portal and for the customers.
That's awesome. Let's do a quick demo for people.
Here is our portal. I've generated some sample shipments, but I wanted to show how the customer would be able to select different options. So if you go through multiple shipments, and the beauty of this is that it doesn't only work for one specific shipment. You can select many and have all of the options shown to you in one screen. Let's try to do a checkout with 3 shipments. This is the new screen. Our customers have gotten used to seeing one option for the shipping, usually one option by service level. It's either regular, expedited, or express, but now we give them the flexibility to choose between all the carriers. So when a customer does a checkout, they see, again, the best option that's available to them and the cost for it, but they do have the option to choose out of all the other carriers that are available. If you click here, it will show you all our partners, and it will actually show you all of the different options that we provide to our customers. And we are very unique in providing more than just shipping labels. We try to optimize the shipping routes. This also looks at what are your other options. Sometimes you're not able to drop off the packages directly to the carrier or to us. We have the options where you can drop it off to a partner facility at FedEx, and then it comes to us, and then we take care of it from then on. In this example, you can see that all of the options are there. They're all priced to very, very aggressively, and we want to bring the best of all our partners' rates to our customers, but now they have the flexibility to choose that. They can choose between regular, expedited, and express. They can also filter by their preferred carrier. They only want to see Loomis rates, for example. And if you go here, it will only show you Loomis options. And you can see the screen for other shipments as well. There's a shipment that's going to Toronto. You can see the rates here, but you can see all of the options and all of the carriers that we have. The same goes for US shipments. You can see that there's US carriers when the shipments are going to the US. And again, it's very, very clear to the customers on what the shipment journey is going to be. When we are going to be handling the package, we show that ShipSavvy will be handling the package and will pass it on to the carrier. When there are multiple legs of the journey, like FedEx, the customer dropping it off to FedEx, then they're bringing it to us, and then we passing it on to the last mile carrier. It's very clear and very transparent with very strong prices. So I'm very excited about that, and gives the customers the ability to choose their preferred partner.
Could you give us an example of ways why would somebody not want the cheapest carrier? What is the scenario why they might not want to just choose the default cheapest?
I think what we'd like to give our sellers the flexibility. And as a seller, it is also important to be able to provide flexibility and choice to your customer. In many cases, a lot of sellers like to give the option at the checkout if their customers want to choose a specific carrier. And so this allows them, the seller may or may not have a preference, but the recipient may do. So it allows flexibility in terms of providing the customer the options. But also a lot of sellers are just comfortable with different carriers. They're more comfortable with the larger carriers, the more well-known carriers like UPS or FedEx or Canada Post. Sometimes the most recent example would be the Canada Post, pending Canada Post strike. Maybe they're not comfortable taking the risk that Canada Post could go on strike at any moment, and they want some more assuredness over the delivery. They might choose another carrier. And so there's a lot of different factors that go into the decision of which carrier to choose. Obviously, we provide very strong rates on all the carriers, and we just want to give them the option, and the customer may have their preference or their own comfort level.
That's awesome. So like today's current state, a retailer may not want to ship with Canada Post because they're uncertain of the strike or the holdbacks or potentially a parcel getting stuck in there. That would be a good use case where they would filter on another carrier, Purelator or whatever it might be, and then make the business decision to choose that versus going with Canada Post, which may be cheaper, but it could go on strike any day currently.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay, great. Moving on, we've got two sort of bulk features that I wanted to touch on. And this is kind of all heading in the direction of we have customers that are doing larger numbers of transactions, bigger shipments. And so we've got two features that we've rolled out. One is the ability to bulk download shipping labels after they've been created, as well as bulk delete any labels that have been created because they did not get used or the shipment did not go or whatever it may be. Maybe talk a little bit about what problems customers are running into with that and what they can do now with that feature.
Yes, this is all part of listening to our customers' feedback and see where we can really make the process easy for them. And what we found is some of our larger customers, they have separation of responsibilities and duties. There are certain operational people that generate the labels or provide all the information, but the printing of the labels is separated. Someone else goes through, downloads them, and then attaches to the shipments. And previously, the user did not have the ability to download multiple labels at the same time or a bulk download of the labels that were already generated. And now what we have done is given that flexibility to the customer. So if you ever wanted to go back and re-download the labels, or if there were different people handling the packages, it would be a lot easier for someone to go back and just re-download it. The same applies for deletion options. As we build integrations into our portal, there's a lot of orders that come in that customers maybe want to fulfill through different channels, through different means, or for any reason want to cancel those. Now with so many orders coming in and with us dealing with larger partners, this allows them to be able to bulk delete shipments. Even if the label's created, they can still go ahead and they have not shipped it yet, they can go and delete the labels and void the shipment. This gives a lot of flexibility to our customers.
This is awesome. There's a lot of work going on behind the scenes that you guys will hear with this one, as well as in some of the future releases, really around larger volume merchants being able to have better support for their workflows, both inside the UI as well as the API. So stay tuned for the API stuff. Moving on to some of this carrier integration stuff. And you mentioned earlier we support 7 different carriers. Not every carrier is exactly the same in terms of the data they can flow back and forth. And so I know this gets a little bit dry, but this is important because this really prevents things from getting potentially blocked at the border. And one of the things we've worked on is character limits for some of the address fields and stuff like that. And Owais, maybe talk a little bit about some of the problems we maybe have run into in the past and kind of what we have in place now.
Yes, the biggest challenge when dealing with lots of carriers is the requirements for each carrier. Every carrier has different requirements in terms of how they want the data, how much they can put on the label, what they can put on the label. And the challenge that users have in trying to manage multiple carriers is to work with all those requirements. And we take it as our responsibility to make this process as seamless as possible and try to figure out all these other requirements that each carrier has and build it into our portfolio so our customers have a very easy and smooth experience. And what we found was there were instances where there were character limits or other restrictions on carriers' shipping labels or the references that we could put on there, especially on the address field. And so we've improved our system so it works with all carriers now and avoids any issues that may have with the address on the label, while still providing all the flexibility to choose the best carrier for the shipment.
That's awesome. And sometimes that would show up in the way of like a label generation error, but sometimes it would be more critical and it would actually stop the shipment at the border. It would get rejected because some critical word in the product description isn't there, and then the border officers can't declare it, they can't verify it, they can't do the things they need. And so that's kind of the worst case scenario that shows up from something very small like a data field. Glad that improvement's in place. Let's switch gears now. We're talking about carriers. A couple old carrier coming back and a new one added to the mix. We have Canada Post Track Packet USA service that is now enabled. Let's start there. What is it and when would people use it?
Yes, with the changes in Section 221 for the Chinese goods, people were looking for duty paid options or duty unpaid options where they are able to ship packages to their customers in the US without paying for duties in advance. Right? There is a big need for DDU, we call it DDU, which is duty unpaid options out there for customers, and Canada Post is a great option for that, where you are able to ship through Canada Post. It's taken to the US and then delivered by the USPS, and the end recipient is responsible for paying any clearance and duties or any other fees if applicable. There was not a lot of need for this service in the past, but with Section 321 changing, especially for Chinese goods, there was a lot of customers who were asking for it, and we are excited to present that as an option. And now the customer can ship it without having to deal with the duties in advance, and then the recipient will be responsible for it.
Awesome. So more ability to get the packages across in different ways. Also on that topic, Intelcom is back. So Intelcom has been reactivated on the platform. Maybe tell us a little bit of background about where we made some changes and what people can expect now that it's back.
Yes, exactly. Intelcom is a fantastic partner to work with. They have a wide network and they have very good rates and very good delivery. However, one of the restrictions that we had with Intelcom was that they were not integrated into the Amazon verified carriers. So that impacted Amazon sellers' ratings and their metrics on Amazon. They have just been integrated. They have just been able to integrate into Amazon and to an Amazon approved carrier that with their integration to the Amazon system, allowing the end Amazon user to be able to track the packages directly on the Amazon portal. And so now they are one of the verified carriers. And with this big change, we are very excited to bring them back on our portal and again, give the customers the ability to pick the carrier that they want to choose with, including Intelcom, because they do have a good service level and very strong rates.
Awesome. More options for those Amazon shipments, giving people the power to choose what they want. Perfect. And the last one that we've got here is our shipping insurance. We actually launched this one about a week and a half ago, but we're just sort of pulling together the updates and the final pieces of this. Talk a little bit about shipping insurance. What did we have before and what do we have now?
As we start to deal with larger partners, dealing with different types of goods, and one of the areas where we are actually one of the best in the market is on more heavier goods, more expensive goods. We have really good partners that provide great flexibility and rates on a bit bigger and bulkier goods, right? And sometimes those goods are expensive. It doesn't need to be a big or bulky. So smallish packages can be expensive too. As we grow our business and we work with lots of different carriers and partners, we've talked about hearing feedback from our customers, and as we onboard a lot of different types of customers, especially the ones that have some more expensive items or bigger and bulkier goods, they want the flexibility to be able to insure those packages when they ship to their customers. And generally, the insurance is done by the carriers, and it's very expensive. It's insured per $100, and it's a very expensive rates. We have been able to partner up with a third-party insurance company that provides very attractive insurance options and insurance rates. And so we are excited to offer this on our portal, where a customer, if they're shipping a little bit more expensive goods or they want insurance on the package for whatever reason, we can provide that at a much more attractive rate than what's available in the market. Very excited, and all the customer has to do is choose that they want insurance on the package, declare how much insurance they would like, and they get very attractive rates, and we do all the work in the back end. And if there's any issues with the package, the customer deals with us. We handle all the claims and all the customer service, and so we are one-stop shop for our customers.
That wraps up kind of the stuff that is now released. And so everything that we just talked about is live on the ShipSavvy.com platform. You can go in and you can test it out. And if you need any support, obviously reach out to us and we'll be happy to jump on a demo or hold your hand going through this.